The New York Islanders fall to the Detroit Red Wings 1-0 in a very disappointing game. I'm going to try to do my best not to do a Steve Dangle tonight and just fly off the handle because I am so ticked at this team right now. Oh, it is so frustrating. And I'll tell you what, I don't want to hear I don't want to hear it's early in the season. We've been doing that it's early in the season thing for the last decade. We did it even in the Trotz era. We did, oh, it's early, like don't forget, even under Trotz, we were a bubble team, even under Trotz. And we had to pull off some miracles just to make the playoffs, even under Trotz. And I tell you, I had high expectations for this crew, and they are absolutely 100% letting me down. Now, with saying that, the Detroit Red Wings had one scoring opportunity tonight. One. And it was at 8:38 of the first period, and it was Patrick Kane. Ryan Pulock lost his man. Kane, beautiful shot, got the shot off right away. But that was the only opportunity the Wings had the entire game. The entire game, and we lost 1-0. I don't want to take anything away from Detroit because they played a fantastic defensive game. Their gap control was amazing. Their forechecking was outstanding. They were on the Islanders like that every second. Every time we had the puck, they were on us. So I will give them that. However, they completely lost interest in offense after it was 1-0. As a matter of fact, they didn't even have any interest in offense before it was 1-0. To me, I there for a second, I thought I was watching the late 90s, early 2000 New Jersey Devils. Oh, we got a goal. And that's what they did. They just protected the lead. Once again, we get three power plays. The other team's one. Our PK did a good job tonight. It was an excellent kill, but the power play just didn't come through for us. And it's getting really frustrating. It's getting really frustrating that we can't seem to put the puck in the net. 6 games, three shutouts. As it's going right now, we score 5 goals, get shut out, score 5 goals, get shut out. It's just a ridiculous pattern. I know I've said it 100 times before, but this team is about scoring by committee. And none of the committee seems to want to score right now or at a very consistent level. That's for sure. And the Islanders didn't have a bad game. That's the worst part about it. They completely dominated the game. But even though we outshot them like 29-10 or whatever it was, I seen one place that said 12, 29-12, 29-10, whatever. It wasn't it wasn't really high danger scoring chances. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there were some opportunities that were close. He made a couple of good saves, but we really didn't do anything. And we didn't anytime we had a chance, we never finished with the scoring touch. Like Barzell with that one time coming across. Instead of one timing, he cups it and shoots it and no finish. Don't score. Simon Holstrom pulls out a fantastic, beautiful move in the event that has nothing to do with hockey that's called the shootout. And it just shows you because he gets a breakaway tonight and he didn't even come close to scoring. So it's just so frustrating the lack of finishing on this team. It's so frustrating. I cannot tell you how frustrating it is. Well, I can tell you how frustrating it is because if you're watching this, you're probably an Islanders fan. So you know how frustrating it is. I know how frustrating it is. I tell you, the Detroit Red Wings reminded me of the Islanders playing under Trotz tonight. That was exactly the vibe I got from them. One thing I'm noticing about the Islanders, I was talking about it with a friend of mine on a message board tonight, and he said that Pajot always makes the wrong choice on his passes. He has a couple options, and he always chooses the wrong place to go. And I'll even add on to that. Another thing that the Islanders do is they hang on to the puck just a half a second too late. They're always I can see the holes and the gaps and whatnot, what you gotta hit. And they always just do it that half second late. They're always holding on to that puck just a little bit too long. When a team like Detroit is playing how they were tonight with the heavy forecheck, the great gap control, fantastic gap control, they were blocking shots, doing everything they could defensively. Like I said, reminded me of the Islanders under Trotz. So you've got to move that puck. That is the only way you're going to beat guys like that. And hopefully you hem them in, they get tired out, and you run them down and you score a goal. Something the Islanders couldn't do because they were on top of us so fast and guys weren't reacting fast enough. They weren't passing fast enough. As much as we control the game, and we did, we dominated this game, but that don't cut it anymore. Dominating games and coming away with 0 points, especially to a team like Detroit, who you never know. I thought we were going to get in the playoffs comfortably this year, but it's starting to look like the same old song and dance once again. I'm hoping that's not the case, but it's starting to seem that way. Well, Detroit could be one of those teams that we're fighting for to get into the playoffs with. So there we go. Just hand you 2 points. We played 10 times better than you tonight, but come on into our arena, take the 2 points and go home. Yeah, I'm a little frustrated. I'm a little frustrated. All right, let's talk. Yeah, and you know what? It's not like I'm gonna have anything bad to say about the Islander players tonight because as an overall, what I talked about, they could all do better. Like little, well, not all, but most of them could pass the puck a little quicker. Uh, but overall, they all had good games. We dominated the game. We have no scoring touch. We don't have a Matthews. We don't have a Stamkos. We don't have a Kucherov. We don't have that guy who easily puts the puck in the net with ease. We don't have a Jack Hughes. We don't, we I really thought Barzell was gonna go up to 90 points this year. I really did, but I'll hold off until I get to him. Siplikov, wow, I thought he had a fantastic game tonight, and he just does everything right, man. I tell you, his vision is so good, and his board work is fantastic. Again, his passing is fantastic. He's one of the guys I'm not talking about by holding on to the puck too long. This guy has incredible vision, incredible vision. He has vision that they said Bailey had, but didn't really have. Sipakov really has it. He has the vision of the ice. He sees the openings, and it's only for a few gifted people that they can do that. And Sipakov is one of them. So he had a great game. He really did. Nice game, Max. Another thing about Max I noticed tonight, what I love everything about him, his board plays, passing, his release, his shot, the way he hits, the way he plays. But tonight he had five dump ins, and he didn't carry the puck across the blue line once. So what does that tell me? That tells me that Max Sipakov is a very teachable player because Patrick Roy has gotten to him, because this is not Max Siplikov's natural game to dump a puck into the zone and go get it. They just don't do that in the KHL. They carry it over the blue line. So this tells me that Max is very teachable, which just makes him just such an outstanding grab for the Islanders. It really is. He's just fantastic addition to the team. Holmstrom, I guess he was okay, but I don't think he's the fix for the first line. He's just not a first line guy, and that's not the place for him. And it hampered Barzell and Horvat tonight. Yeah, sure, they still played okay and they got some shots off in that, but this was the time to put Wally up there. Absolutely 100% the time to put Wally up there. Holmstrom is not a first liner. I know they see fantastic things at a Holmstrom in practice and that, but practice and games are two different things. He's not a first line hockey player. He's just not. So don't put him there. Foodie. Wow, excellent game by Foodie tonight. Man, he was all over the place. He was flying. And I will say this as I guess I'll do all three guys, but or I'll talk about it individually. But Foodie, he was fast, he was engaged, he was in the play. And I will say tonight's game for the fourth line was the best game our fourth line has had all year. And Casey wasn't playing on the fourth line either. However, the third line looked pretty good with Casey on it too. But the addition of Foodie was amazing. Like his speed and him and Kyle McLean, the way they were going together, they were all over. They were McLean and Foodie and were kind of playing like the way the Red Wings were playing. They were in their face, in their face, in their face. And the one thing about the fourth line tonight is for the majority of the time that they were on the ice, and I guess I'll have to see how much time they got. I don't think it'd be a whole lot. It looks like 7:52 for Foodie. And let's see. Wallstrom got a little more playing time. He got 9:14. So I definitely thought that that was the best game the fourth line had as a unit for sure. And I'm going to talk about Oliver Wallstrom. I watched him tonight and he was absolutely fantastic. That was the best game of the year for Wally. He was all over the place, and I can see his ice time is up 2 minutes. So Patrick also had to see it as well. So that fourth line was really clicking tonight. They had them hemmed in, and that's just what you want out of your fourth line. So good job by all three guys, but Wally I was very impressed with tonight. So and I have been spending extra attention to him because he seems to be a hot topic of what to do with Wally. I'll tell you what to do with Wally. As good as the fourth line was, is you put Wallstrom on the first line, you put Holmstrom back on the third line, you put Casey back on the fourth line with Foodie and McLean. And now everybody's in the spots they're supposed to be in. Holmstrom's not supposed to be up in the first line. Wallstrom's not supposed to be in the fourth line, but he's doing what he can to stick around. So we had round pegs trying to fit into square holes, and that just wasn't going to happen for us tonight. And it shows. We didn't score. Lack of chemistry. Lack of chemistry. Holmstrom's not a first line player. Wallstrom has always been a first line player all his life up until the NHL. Uh, if you're hanging on to Wallstrom hoping he's going to break out in that, these are the opportunities where you got to give him the chance and get him up there. So if I could question anything tonight about Patty's decisions, that would be it. Uh, Barzell, he had 4 shots on goal tonight, but the one he could have scored on, he should have one timed, but he wanted to hold it and put it up in the toy department, and he didn't get it up in the toy department, and that should have been an easy goal for Matt, but he did get 4 shots on net. One thing I will say about the Islanders, this is the best shooting team we've had in I can't remember how long. This is the we are good at taking our shots, this team for sure. Even on the power play. I have to give it up on the power play. But Bo, not his best game, but definitely not a bad game. Just wasn't making a lot happen because I mean the first line wasn't bad. They dominated a lot of zone time in the offensive zone, but not a lot was happening due to the lack of chemistry with Holmstrom being on that line, or at least that's what I believe. So I thought Barzell and Horvat were kind of had similar games. Bo got 3 shots off tonight, but not good enough. But I think I really do think Holmstrom kind of held those guys back. Palmieri, I this guy looks like he just turned 21 the way he's playing. He's just he's flying out there on the ice and using his body and taking shots. He got a couple of shots off tonight. Yeah, he's just I thought the second line was our best line tonight by a mile. Well, not a mile, but a lot. But was anybody any good because nobody scored. But I thought Palms had a very good game. Very good game. He had 17 minutes and 30 seconds of ice time. Anders Lee, uh, once again, I thought he had a nice third line game for sure. He was mucking it up in the corners, controlling things. He was at least trying to keep possession in the wings end. So and he was driving for the net. He was charging. Anders was fighting hard tonight. So and then we go on to Brock Nelson. Brock was okay. Brock is one of those guys who I think that I was talking about that may hold on to the puck just a little bit too long before he passes. So And it's amazing how that little half a second makes a difference because at the speed hockey is being played at half a second, everything is closed up within that half a second that you notice it and you should have done it, but you have to do it then. You got to be quicker, you got to be faster, you got to be in that mentality, knowing that I cannot have this puck very long. The way Detroit's playing tonight, do not try to do too much. And I think Palms does that. And he had another good game, and so did Anders. So uh, Brock, not I thought of the three players online, Brock had the I thought the other two guys were better on the third line than Brock tonight. Not that Brock had a bad game or anything, and he did get 5 shots off. So anytime you get 5 shots on net, you got to be doing something right. I guess like I said, I think I have a negative connotation about him from tonight because of noticing him holding onto the puck a little bit too long, and then plays are just being completely broken up because of it. So I think that's what stuck out in my head. But anybody who's getting 5 shots on goal a game is doing something right. Uh, Pajot, I kind of talked on him a bit. As my friend said, that he always seems to make the wrong choice for a pass, and I kind of tend to agree with him on that. But I agree with him on that with not just Pajot and not just Nelson. We have other Islanders who do the same thing. But the one thing about Brock too with his passes is he loves to do that little soft flip over a defenseman's stick up to an Islander. The D men are just too good now, man. They just whack that out of the air almost probably 60-70% of the time. They break that up. And you got to make a better play than just a little soft flip in most cases. I understand there's points where it needs to be done and that, but it's getting broken up too much. I thought Zeker had a good effort on the third line. I thought he brought his tenacity of the fourth line play up to the third line and made it look pretty good. The third line was actually pretty good tonight, just no results. So no results, not acceptable. But Casey had a good game up on the third line. I'm okay with Casey up at the third line. But like I said, in this situation that we're in right now, I really think Casey should be back on that fourth, Wally up on the first, Holmstrom back in his spot, third, keep Foodie as Foodie is Duclair's replacement. And that's just the way it is. And okay, maybe we don't have a guy good enough to replace Duclair in that spot, but you never know. We've all been hoping for years now that Wally's going to break out. Who knows? This could be it. And I'll tell you, one thing about with a goal score, it's all about confidence. Everything is about confidence. Wally hasn't scored in 5 years now. Like from what he's used to doing. Ever since he's been in the NHL, he hasn't scored the way he's used to scoring. If that guy ever gets a small hot streak going and gets his confidence back and then remembers what it was like to be the player he was with the great hands and the picking the top corners and that, this is the opportunity to see if it's there. Let's not mess it up. Let's not mess it up. Mike Riley, I thought had his best game of the year by a long shot, but I've noticed like I thought Mike had a really slow start to the season. Somebody brought that up on the telecast tonight too. It was either Butch or Thomas that I think it was Thomas that he had a slow start, but he's been every game getting steadily better, and he looked more like last year's Mike Riley. He was engaging and he was getting up in the rush, and he played some pretty good D out there tonight too. Love the speed from him, love him getting up there, which is one thing that I do think we need to do when we find ourselves in situations like this in 1-0 games. We need to get these defensemen more engaged in the play. Now, I noticed Riley was more engaged in the first half of the game than the second half, but he should have been taken off more in the second half because we needed a goal. Pellick had another good defensive game, but he was on the ice, so he got himself a -1, even though that's not really his fault. That would be his defensive partner, Mr. Pollock. Um, one mistake, but one mistake is all it takes. And that just shows you how you can have a lack of, just even for a second, a brain fart, or else the puck's in your net and it could cost you the game. That's what people always say. It could cost you the game. It did cost us the game. So proven that it can cost you the game. So you have to play a full 60 minutes, or at least be in your head a little better for 60 minutes. Dobson, I thought, had a good game too. He was more engaged. Dobson was our big boy on defense tonight, log in 25 minutes, while Riley, Pelican, Pollock all garnered around 17 to 18 minutes. So Mayfield was a guy who was cut short tonight, but I didn't really notice Scott a whole lot. He almost had an opportunity to do score that I did notice, but if I don't notice Scott a lot, that means he's doing a great job. So he's key contributor for us in in defense. We need Scott to be at his best, and I thought he had an excellent game. I did think Noah played very well as well. He's gotten better and better. He might have been better last game, but he wasn't too far down from that tonight. So it was still a good game for Noah. He was all over the place. But Romanoff. Now there's a guy who had a game. Oh man, I loved it. His passing, his hitting, his especially the breakout passes in our end zone in that, and retrieving pucks. He was fantastic job at retrieving pucks. Excellent, excellent job. So that takes care of the defense, and then I guess that leaves Ilya, and poor Ilya. I guess he had 11 shots on goal tonight, but he literally had no chance on the goal. Zero chance. That was just beautiful play, and Kane made the perfect shot. So there was nothing Ilya could do on that. So 11 shots, he only lets in one goal. Second time Ilya's lost the game, 1-0. The first one cost him a shutout because of stupid overtime. And yeah, it's almost time for Ilya to call a lawyer and sue the rest of the Islanders for non-support. An oldie but a goodie there, folks. So anyway, no bueno, no bueno. So if you came into this week and you thought, well, if we win our first two games, and which we haven't, we went 1-1 now, and then it would be okay going into against the Florida and New Jersey. But now we pretty much need to take one of those two games. I mean, we need to try to take them both. It's not exactly like New Jersey and Florida are playing the best hockey right now either. So even though New Jersey's got the wins right now, they got off to a quick start, two easy wins against Buffalo overseas, and so yeah, I'm not. I seriously, especially the way both teams are playing right now, I think we could beat both of them. But if we play like we did tonight, there's no way we can beat them. You cannot win if you don't score. So anyway, I know this is a long one tonight, but that's pretty much the way I saw it. I'm frustrated. I'm disappointed. I'll get over it and be ready and raring to go for Jersey. I think it's Friday, is it? Is it Thursday or Friday? I can't remember. But yeah, I'll be ready and raring to go. So you guys out there, y'all take care and peace out. Bye.